Okay, hello everyone. Hello, welcome, and hi Janet.
Hello.
And today Jale is a little bit late, but she will come soon, I believe. Okay, today we will talk about, like we said, about Quran burning crisis. There have been many riots and violent protesters and mobs in Scandinavia, especially in Sweden and in Norway in the last weeks, because of somebody burned a copy of the Quran. But instead of focusing, the mainstream media and politicians and many people focusing on who burned the Quran, what was the intention of this person burning Quran, instead of focusing the huge problems with Islamic intolerance and the deadliest blasphemy laws and killings in the Muslim world, and the lack of integration and failed migration policy, they are focusing the person who is burning far right or racism. It is very stupid. I can say this. And what do you think, Janet, in these reactions, from especially the left wings, like they are not focusing the problem. Problem is people who are burning cars and attacking police, but they are focusing on who is burning.
The obvious thing that
If I was in Oslo and as an ex-Muslim burn Quran, then what they will say? Do they will focus? Wait, just yes. Hi, Jale.
You can hear me. I cannot hear you.
Do you hear me?
I'll just drop it.
Okay. Do you hear me right now?
Better like this. Is it better now?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, and you can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear you
Yes.
clearly.
Okay, perfect.
Okay.
I will just take this mic off then. So
No,
sorry.
No problem. No problem. I was just talking about the problems what we are experiencing in the last weeks.
Yes.
There have been a lot of riots and violent protesters against burning Quran events. Some people burned Quran, and especially Muslims, attacking police and burning cars.
Exactly. Yeah.
But the mainstream media and the politicians are often focusing on who is the burning Quran and what was the intention of this Persian burning Quran, instead of focusing on the lack of integration, failed migration, the huge problems with Islamic intolerance and the deadly blasphemy laws, written and unwritten laws, and the killings which happening almost every month in the Muslim countries. So
yes,
us start there. Why they are focusing that instead of they should focus who using violence.
Yes.
And what's the background of this violence?
Yes.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think so also, and I also think it's because it's not Norwegian, Danish, Scandinavian culture, the violence, right? It's not Western culture. So when they are met with that, I think they're so in shock that they're like, okay, maybe we should think about meeting them halfway, right? That's how negotiations go. But you cannot negotiate with terrorists, and that's what you have to understand, I think.
Right.
So in Scandinavia, it's always like we will meet in the middle, right? You're here, I'm here. We will make a deal and we'll meet in the middle. But it's always the negotiations is usually I want more in taxes, I want less in taxes. We'll meet in the middle, right? But it's not like that with Islamists.
Yeah, you see the. Can you hear me right now?
Culture is a violence culture. You all know this as well.
Yeah, I'm frozen. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, it's good because my picture is frozen. I don't know why. But
Hi, Ninok.
Hi, hello.
Hi.
you see these videos, like the Middle East.
Yeah.
But extent they are not focusing because of I will show later blasphemy killings, and even only last week happened one man brutally killed by some Muslims because of he did something some blasphemous act on Facebook. If Muslims have power, if Muslims are majority, they will lynch people. Even we are not there. We have a like minority. Muslims are minority, but we are witnessing this act like they are
I
not
think it's
afraid even to do like these things.
I
So
think it's better to say Islamist because normal Muslims are not
yeah, sure.
all. Yeah, it's not all of them who are like we want to kill, but it's the problem is they don't have an alternative to the Islamists when it comes to their religion, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of Muslims I think it's so frightening that the modern Muslim doesn't say enough is enough. You're not representing my religion anymore, but they don't, and that's why we have of course ex-Muslims, but yeah, I think a lot of normal Muslims, of course, in fact are helping the Islamists by either being silent or saying, oh, maybe we should stop burning the Quran, then we have to be respectful and so on, even though they're not doing the violence themselves. Not um they're not going against the Islamists who are
Yeah,
representing their
but also
religion.
problem, the problem when you look to who doing the violence and who is attacking, we cannot only say Islamists too, actually, Jale, because this is a like mob
Yeah,
culture we have.
yeah,
I'm sure many of them even don't go to the mosque, and
yeah,
and they don't pray 5 times a day.
yeah.
Muslims like have some kind of intolerance against blasphemy acts, like
It's true.
it is in their like DNA. We need only 2 or 3 Islamists to provoke and throw a stone to police, then there will come a lot of Muslims when they hear. And I don't want to be like, I don't want to generalize, but it is
No,
crazy.
true.
Like
It's true.
we have seen when Salman Rushdie's book, protests against the satanic verses, in Oslo streets, we had seen thousands of people.
Mm.
I don't believe these thousands of people were Islamists.
No, it's
So,
true.
and yesterday I was talking with the Arabic translated memes, I'm totally agree with him. Like he say, uh, if our government start deporting these people who have only not have citizenship, and these people who have double citizenship, when they are engaging in like these acts and doing crime against free speech, they have to be deported, and you will see then all Muslims will calm down,
Exactly.
and these things will help. But or they are talking right now, what they are talking. I will show some videos in Norway, what's happened in Norway. It's
Yeah.
not only in Sweden. Many Norwegian people even don't know what's happened in Sandefjord, one city, and in Oslo. So they are talking about, how we can like straff, Janet, what is in English? Straffe?
I was reading the comments.
Punish.
Yes, how we can punish
Yeah.
the people who are burning book. Like
Yeah.
they have to pay. If some
Yeah.
cars are burned, they have to pay. What the heck? What is this? Like they say, if some Greenpeace activists protesting and damaging some shops, then oil company have to pay it. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It is stupid. And the biggest value we have, this is freedom of speech, and freedom of speech is the biggest enemy of Islam. If we lose our freedom of speech, Islam will be most powerful ideology in the West. Our only weapon is free speech, and in this case, Quran burning case, like now they are talking about burning a copy of the Quran is not freedom of speech.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the freedom of speech has been not taken away from us, but it has been in many years now. Some of it since Salman Rushdie, some of it since the Muhammad drawings. Little by little we are learning that you cannot criticize Islam. It comes with a cost of violence, and then you should be careful, you should be quiet, you should stop doing it. Actually, I am actually shocked because I talked with um, four or five different people that I don't really know that well, and I told them that I was a critic of Islam, and all of them, they are not in politics, and they said to me, you should be careful, I didn't know that about you, you should be careful. So people know now, you should shut up and never criticize Islam. Even in the West now, it's mainstream to know you should not criticize Islam. You should be afraid. The violence is working there. It's a fear culture, right? It's Islam is driven by a fear culture. I think Islam didn't rise and go and become a big religion because of the good arguments, the love, the sweetness of the religion. It's because of it was won with the sword, right? It was conquering land and killing people. It was essentially in wars that Islam came to power, and this is still in a way the way Islam works even in the modern days and even in the West. And we have to I am totally I think you're right, Jamal. We should punish these people, so and they only understand consequences.
It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen.
I hope you're not right, but
I mean, let's face it. Every time Islam is criticized, it's because someone on media has lied about Islam, said it's wonderful, it's beautiful. Like in the time of Easter, the television in European countries was celebrating Ramadan. That should piss some people off, right? That should make someone want to burn the fucking Quran to show the world that no, it's not peaceful. Look at what they are doing. That's what's going on. And instead of taking it seriously that the riots are caused by this reaction, this book preaches, it's been said that it's extremists who are doing it, and that the poor rioters, they have bad social lives, they need more money, they always need more money. No matter how much money we give them, the number of extremists just increases. The behavior doesn't change, it's just that more of them, we give them more money, we get more violence. That's what's going on, because they put all that money into that terrible education that is teaching these people to have absolutely no tolerance when it comes to criticism of Islam. So it's not going to happen.
But Janet, I'm not so pessimist, but in any way, I just want to say before I forget, I have seen that Rishwin Ismet from ex-Muslims of Sri Lanka is here, so maybe he can join us later. Because we will talk, this is just only the beginning. I want to later talk about a little bit about hypocrisy in Islam and Quran burning history in Islam. And like Ismail Salam says, cloac, savage systems in Saudi Arabia is full of Qurans. And it's true.
In Iran as well, it was.
Yeah, and I will share it, but like, when you see the Muslim mob, they are not reacting if some powerful countries like Saudi Arabia doing this, burning a lot of Qurans. But if like individuals when do that in Muslim country, in Afghanistan, in Pakistan, and I will show a lot of things later, they are killing women, men, and torturing and burning them just because of they heard that the woman or man decapitated Quran. So we will
Yeah,
show
it's
this, and Rishwin, please just send me a message if you want to join us.
I think I hope you're not rushing it, but
I hope I'm not right, but that's what's going on. I mean, what
yeah,
do you
yeah,
think?
yeah,
Why do you think I'm absent half a year? I get
yeah,
so depressed. I feel so
yeah, yeah,
freaking hopeless. It's
yeah,
just
yeah,
they don't listen. They have this hero complex on the outside, but I think further deep, it's all about money. They
yeah,
are making themselves very wealthy on exporting this terrible ideology, telling
yeah.
people that they are the heroes. They are pretending to be saving the world while they are
Yeah.
destroying it, while they
Yeah.
are turning it
But
into
you know what was the interesting thing? I saw the whole video of what the Stop Islamization of Norway when they burned Quran after Sweden incident in front of police station in a place where Muslims are mostly Muslims are living in Oslo. You know, it was very strange because they were there half hour and just only one man and one woman from this organization burned Quran, and Muslims, like some Muslims very far away, they are standing there and they are only watching. But later when four police car come, suddenly there were like hundreds Muslims, and they start attacking these people, like, you know, they hadn't courage even to do something before police come. You know what can they do? What can police do? Arrest these people who use violence, and if they have no citizenship in Norway, just deport them. And if
even
they have
even even if they have citizenship, it should be taken away from them, because
uh,
if you are going to be a a terrorist, if your feelings about your religion is hurt, you turn from a normal person to a terrorist in 1 second, then you don't have any place in a Western civilized world. You should not be here. I'm sorry. And if we do that just with 10 of these people, then the rest will learn that this is not acceptable in the Western world.
yeah.
We have to understand that these people are from a culture of consequences, and they don't understand, and fear, right?
Yeah.
So they don't understand a police officer standing there trying to talk to their democratic side, because that side is not non-existent. Their tolerant side is non-existent, because they haven't been brought up with democratic upbringing. They were just told that this is a no-no, and violence is okay if you can get away with it. Really, that's how they think.
Yeah,
uh,
and the only solution
Islam
is just
says that you must beat your children and you must beat your wives. You know,
yeah,
they,
yeah,
they are
exactly.
they're not from a flower culture. They're not
No,
peaceful.
no. And
not
this
all of
is,
them, and these people. Yes, but they have to just
but
crack down.
the
Yes,
culture,
because
the
yes,
religion and the culture is violent. I mean, if you look at how many people beat their kids in Denmark, you will get to a certain group of people, and there are Muslims, a lot of them, right? So this is not far-fetched to say violence is from the child to the teenager to the to every step of life. Fear and violence is a
yeah,
very big part of Muslim culture and religion.
and
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 of
I,
course,
Here's what goes on. I mean, every time you use it as an argument that Islam is allowing them to lie, it's allowing them to beat your wife, beat your children, and disrespectful to everyone who isn't religious. If it's not a Muslim, then he is not supposed to be sitting at the same height as you in Islam. And then people say no, because they follow Norwegian law, they follow Western law, so it's no problem. But when they break Western law, when they become violent towards the Western values, then it's the Westerns who are extremists. You know, the Muslims, they get the monopoly on violence. They can do whatever they want, and the laws will change for them because they are innocent and they need more money and they need more help, and we need to be so understanding.
And it's actually racism of lower expectations, because you don't expect Muslims to understand the law.
And you know, if you look to the regressive leftists, and especially the mainstream media, what they are talking about, they are not mentioning anything about Islam. Like these protesters, violent protesters, have nothing to do with the Islamic intolerance. It is about lack of possibilities for education, and they are living in ghettos and the gangs. You know, it is crazy. We will show soon, and Rishwin will join us too, when we come and about what's happening in the Muslim world. In Muslim world, we see the thousands of mobs killing and lynching people. And is this a problem? Is this because of education? Is this because of racism? It is so stupid, you know.
The president of Pakistan, the previous president of Pakistan, Imran Khan, he said that women were flawed because men raped them because they don't cover up, right? He practically said that rape is a woman's fault. And when you bring up something like that, he's not social outcast. He doesn't live in a ghetto. He is not lacking education or money or anything. He is the star of the country. But then they say, no, but that's not our country. That has nothing to do with our country. So Islam is different in Denmark and in Norway than it is in Saudi Arabia and Pakistan and Iraq and all that.
And I think let me play some videos. Many people, I think many people haven't seen these videos. What's happened in Oslo and what's happened in Sandefjord. And now I'm just adding Rishwin Isma too here. He cannot use camera. He's the founder of ex-Muslims of Sri Lanka. Rishwin, hi.
Hi, Rishwin.
Hello. Hi, Jamal. And
hi, how are you?
Hello, Ninrock and Sheila. I hope that you can hear me. My voice is audible.
Yes, very good. And
okay, I'm really sorry. I'm really sorry that I was not prepared to appear in the program. So my background is kind of mess. Yeah, and
I get so
hiding,
happy.
So it's not easy for me to show my face and the background without a proper preparation.
No problem. Rishwin, let us first watch some incidents happened. You know, after Sverige, Stop Islamization of Norway, an organization, they burned Quran in Oslo, and later they burned Quran in another city named Sandefjord. Let's just watch this first before we go to blasphemy killings and Islamic intolerance in the Muslim majority countries and the other part of the world, right? Okay. I have to stop here because this man is talking in Punjabi and saying to other Muslims from Pakistan that the same happening in the Pakistan, you know, all brave men, take the blasphemer, finish him and kill him here, take him out of his car. And this is happening in Oslo. But then he using Punjab language, not Norwegian.
He said, stop the car and right here.
Ikke noe hånd og bruk. Hør nå! Alle stille. Vi skjønner at dere er frustrert. Og det er greia nå. Og dere beskytter han. Og dere beskytter han. Og dere beskytter han. Dere beskytter han. Hør! Stans det dere gjør! Stans! Stans! Dere driver og tilrettelegger for dem! Dere gjør det. Dere gjør det. Dere må fyre på dem hele dritten. Dere stopper dem.
Do you see? Even they are like they are in shock. These people at why police protecting them, because they are not integrated. They think that like in Pakistan, police in Afghanistan, police is just looking when they are killing people, even because of blasphemy. And now I want to talk with Rishwin. Rishwin, you are living in Sri Lanka, and you know there have been also riots and mobs attacked blasphemers. Do you think it is because of integration and racism they are doing that? Are you there, Rishi?
Hi, Jamal. Yes. I hope that you can hear me. Yeah, it happened here. It's because of the systematical Islamization in this country. Like Sri Lanka, Sri Lankans are not aware about Islam because the Muslims live here as traditional Muslims for many years. They didn't know that what actually the real Islam was, but the real Islam came into Sri Lanka in late 50s when these Islamic movements started their operation here in Sri Lanka, especially Jamaat-e-Islami in 1953. After that, only the Sri Lankans got to know what real Islam is. Before that, they were living like traditional Muslims. Just they were following Islam as every other Sri Lankan was following their own religion. So during those periods, nobody looked at Muslims with a different eyes because there were racism, but it was racism. It was not a religious problem. But once Muslims started behave like Muhammad and try to implement these goals of Islam, like creating an Islamic state and building up a global Islamic caliphate and all, the things have started escalating in a different way. So these Islamists just did not come and preach violence in Sri Lanka. They were very systematical. They what do you call? They intrude into the government system, the administrative system, very systematically. And after that, they planted the Islamization seeds. Especially, they started with the school curriculum, the school education. So I have talked about this so many times in the Sri Lankan school textbooks for Islam. This is issued by the government of Sri Lanka free of charge to every school children. It has clearly mentioned two things. One is the punishment for leaving Islam is killing, not even capital punishment. This is killing or murder. And there's another hadith, you might have heard about this one. This says that there will be some people who they will be young and they will follow the religion very hardly, but they will leave the religion very fast. The Quran will not go down to their beyond their throats. So they will leave Islam very fastly. Wherever you find them, kill them. Those who kill them will be rewarded after their death. So it says, wherever you find them, kill them. This is also printed in the school teachers' guidebooks. So this is how this Islamization is done. So when this Islamist found somebody's talking against Islam and somebody have left Islam, they try to practice it. Once they are very clear it, they try to practice it. And there were more than 4 attempts to my life alone. Luckily, they didn't do this one because they were waiting for a biggest one. They didn't want to get caught. They didn't want to lose any trace after killing me. So, but the circumstances prevented them from doing this murder. So finally, they went and blew up on Easter Sunday in 2019 and killing around 260 people and injuring nearly 500 people in the churches and Star Class Hotel. They were the same people trying to kill me. But luckily, I was not killed because I was living in the metropolitan area where there are a lot of people and the CCTV cameras. So they had no chance of escaping after killing. So this was planted by the Islamization. So you can't segregate Islam and violence. Yeah. Only if you want to say that Islam is a religion of peace with cursing and threatening, verbal threatening, then you have to stop with Mecca. Because there are verbal abuses, verbal threatening, and abuses, but no physical violence in Meccan Islam. Mental torture, like about hell and all. But
and even Rishwan, we are talking about a country, Sri Lanka, where Muslims are minority, right? How many percent of Muslims are there?
They are around 10%.
Only 10%, and so huge problems. Can somebody burn Quran in public? Do you think that in Sri Lanka? And what will happen if somebody do that?
I don't think anybody can do that one in Sri Lanka because
You don't think?
Sri
Yeah.
Lanka is one of the top 5 religious countries in the world, if you according to the Daily Telegraph of UK. So since Sri Lanka is one of the top 5 countries, that even the other people will not entertain you just doing something to a religious book. So this is one thing. At the same time, Islamists are very powerful, and the government will tolerate such a things that it will be seen as that you are provoking violence. So then you will be arrested by the police, that you don't have that freedom. They will not see Quran as a book that some Arabic letters printed. But if you go through the history, it's very, very, very clear that the third caliph, Uthman bin Affan, was the first one to burn Quran. He sees the Quran from the Sahabis, a companion of other companions of Muhammad, and he created his own version of Quran and he burned it. Because Quran, am I audible?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Okay. Because I don't see myself in the screen. That's what I
Oh,
asked you.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you are there.
be-
You are there. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, thank you. No problem. If the listeners can listen, then it's okay.
We
So
can
that
hear you.
Uthman, Caliph Uthman, sees the Qurans from others and he burned it. And what we are using today is not the original Quran that was recited by Muhammad. We know that how God eats some parts of Quran. But if you go through the whole Quran, entire Quran, without the brackets, if you take the Quran, there are a lot of brackets, brackets that helping
Yeah.
the translation. If you remove all these brackets and if you try to read Quran, you will find the whole Quran is eaten by the God. You will not find
Yeah.
any clear meanings.
Yeah.
So the God has already eaten the Quran, what is left there. Not only the part of Quran. The Quran is
But
whole Quran is being eaten. It doesn't mean sense. It doesn't make sense without the bracket.
yeah, and
Right?
you know, Rishvin, like actually, I say all. It is the reality. You know, the most of the Muslims are ignorant about their religion, and they have some mentality they are following. You know, even people don't know that this Quran we have today, the Hafs Quran, only about from 1930s, right, or even later than that. Before that, there was a lot of Quran, and even the Egypt, they have dumped thousands of Quran in the river Nile in the 1930s, and I can find a link for it. Just continue. But do you think that where it comes from, like in the West, this religion of peace, like they ignore the intolerant sides of Islam, all the blasphemy laws, all the killings, mobs in every country almost. Why they are ignoring this? Do you think, Rishwin? Have you some ideas about that?
I think this influence of the left, it entertain these kind of things. I don't think that they want a peaceful life. They want something to be blamed and to the government and the system. So they just want to have some excuses. So just indirectly some left, some part of left encouraging these kind of things. They want some trouble to be there always because they think that they are the whole saviors of the world. So just they want to say their system is correct just to make the people believe that their system is correct. They want corruption, they want trouble, they want problem in the world. So now they have found a good company in Islam and they are encouraging Islam and Islamists. Instead of, if the left is really supporting the minorities, they should stay with the ex-Muslims, but they don't. What they do is they push the ex-Muslims towards the right wing. And even if they are reluctant to go towards the right wings, they push and they try to send us towards and they try to label us as right wing because they have a set of narrative which already decided. We don't fit into their
Yes.
narrative. So they feel us like they have created something and we are not fitting into it. So they want to
Yeah.
throw us to somewhere it will fit. So this is what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Even you who are living in a country that is, it's not in a Western country, and you're telling this story from a point of view that is not, the white man, or even trying to please the white man, but you're telling a very true and authentic story from where you are, and I think you're so brave, and I take my non-existing hat off for you. They will say, "Oh, you're not that authentic because you sound more like us. You're saying some of the things that the right wingers are saying." And at the same time, I think that for a lot of the mob mentality, and for the Islamists in all countries where they're like burning cars and making threats, and the terrorism is where it is, and even the wars between Muslim groups, right? It's the Every time I see it, it strikes me how normal destruction is for these people. It's so easy to set fire to a car. And this is something that a lot of people on the left wing in Western countries like. They like this destruction side of things. They like this, like, we will not stand for this. We will, like, a lot of Antifa kind of people, and a lot of even in, I think, in the social democracy, in the middle of like the left, but in the mid, they're not far left, but central left. They even think there is something romanticized about the destruction and the violence that is with that comes with the ghettos and with Antifa and so on. So yeah, I think you're right. The left has a huge problem with violence themselves, and that this is also one of why they cannot, they cannot criticize the violence that comes from Islam.
Yeah, and Rishwin have not too much time, so I just want to ask again, Rishwin, because he will leave. Rishwin, what is your situation right now? Because you haven't burned any Quran, you just said you are not a Muslim anymore, and you are sharing information, critical things about the negative sides of Islam to enlighten people. So how is your situation right now in Sri Lanka?
Well, Jamal, this is actually not the negative side of Islam, side of Islam. If you go through the history of Islam, the time of Muhammad, this is actually, this was the positive side of Islam. Like what we are exposing today, we are not actually exposing. We are just saying that it is there,
I'm
and we
sorry.
are just
I'm
showing
sorry.
the people.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry for
No, it's
politically
okay.
correct question. I'm agree with you.
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's totally can be understood. Don't worry. But this is the real Islam that was preached and practiced by Muhammad. But later on, these people come to the civilized world and they didn't want to change their religion and they didn't want to accept the truth. Just they wanted to hide something, and they have hidden all these things, and they were trying to show something else as Islam. So these people are afraid of showing the real Islam. We are coming here and saying the real Islam so that the civilized people are afraid of following the real Islam. So there's nothing called Islamophobia. Islam is dangerous. So there's something called Islamophobia. That's separate topic we can talk about. But in my situation, I'm in hiding. I'm unable to go to the public places, and I can't go to the Muslim populated places because I'm the public enemy of the religion, not the people. But still, I can say that there are still rational thinking Muslims. Still, they have some fear of leaving their religion, but they know that there are something, and I'm talking the correct thing. But there are a lot of Islamists. They try to carry wrong propaganda against me to stop my thoughts and writings reaching the right people. So they are doing this one.
Yeah.
But whether it doesn't really matter. Wherever you live, they have different methods to handle you. Like if you are living in a Muslim or Islamic minority country, they have something called Islamophobia to silence you. And if you are living in the Muslim or Islamic majority country, they don't need the Islamophobia to silence you. They have something called blasphemy laws. So they use different weapons wherever it suits, but the end target as is the same, that you should be silenced. You cannot criticize Islam. This is the matter. Why I don't know why they are so much afraid of Islam being criticized. This is a big question mark. Everybody have to learn. Thank you, Jamal. But I can be here for a few more minutes. No problem. You can talk to Ninrock and Jale, and still I can wait for another round.
We would love to have you back anytime you have the time.
Yes, we have to have a new conversation with you again. It was a
Yes,
long time
exactly.
ago, Rishwin.
was
And I
nice
want
to
to
talk
say,
to you.
yeah, Nirok, just continue.
Yeah, very nice to talk to you again, Rishwin.
Yeah, and you know, Rishwin says it is the right thing because of, you know, actually the most of the ex-Muslims are leaving Islam. because of after they realizing that the so-called extreme Islam, like jihadism and fundamentalists, it is the right interpretation of Islam when we begin to read the Quran and Hadiths. Because before most of Muslims are never read anything in their language about Islamic history and Hadiths and Quran. They are just learning alphabet of Arabic alphabet, and just reciting Quran without understanding. But when they start reading in their language and try to understand after they see all the critics, like Arabic Translate Mem is doing fantastic job with memes, and then they are realizing that actually the so-called moderate Islam doesn't exist in these books. This extremist Islam is the true Islam, the original Islam, the positive Islam. So and this is the help from us and the ex-Muslims activists. I believe Muslims are waking, but something's opposite happening in the West. When we look to the Muslim countries, there we see. I will share this too, but there we see that there is a lot of ex-Muslims, and they are sharing a lot of informations, and they are growing. But in the West, people became more and more religious. Even some Westerners converting Islam because they have been told Islam is nice, Islam is peace, Islam is actually the same religion like Christianity and Judaism.
Yeah.
So a lot of lies going on because they get protection with so-called Islamophobia label. Every critics get this label on them, like us. We are the biggest Islamophobes, right? or yes. Arabic translate memes and apostate prophet and everyone who criticizes Islam. Not only ex-Muslims, but also Westerners. It is tragic. And this site now I'm on, the ex-Muslims of America doing a great job with tracking the blasphemy cases. Here people can search who get arrested, who is tortured, who is killed, murdered, and executed. Here we many of us know this case in Afghanistan. Student Farkunda Malikzadeh, tortured in the middle of this. They take her from her home out, and they tortured, lynched her, and burned her because somebody said that she burned Quran.
And it was in the middle of Kabul, and I saw when
it is really horrific.
And I understand Dari because I understand Farsi, and they were saying to her, "Just come out. We will not hurt you. We will not do anything to you." And this was, of course, a lie because there are a lot of maybe thousands of people waiting for her outside of her home. And then, of course, we have been through this. They have done any Islamic punishment possible, throwing her off of a roof, hitting her, burning her at the end, and stoning her, it was horrible.
And there are a lot of other cases. I just trying to search, and I believe we have to talk about blasphemy cases more and more in the West to show to Muslims and to Westerners that what's happening in 2022. And still we are talking about bringing back blasphemy laws in the West. Even this, you can burn your book, whichever book you have, if you own it.
The police in Sweden is no longer allowing people to burn the Quran.
Are you sure?
They're
not allowing you. They're not granting you permission to protest.
At the moment they're not doing it. At the moment they're not granting. It's because the police of Sweden has filed a complaint, and the police have gone to the government, I guess, or I don't know, higher up in the system to say we don't think we should allow the burning of
They
Qurans.
consider it a risk to safety of the nation.
It
Yeah.
is crazy. This is the first step to bringing back
Yeah.
blasphemy laws and protect and world's most dangerous ideology and religion. This is Islam right now. This is unacceptable because, like I say, I'm really afraid if something like these restrictions come and became a law, then if we lose our freedom of speech a bit, even really we are in all of us in danger.
Yeah.
But
And
that
because
seems to be the leftist agenda. Seems to be what they want, us not having the freedom of speech, us not having choices. That seems to be what they want.
Yes.
I don't know why, but that is what they are trying to achieve.
I mean, I am kind of cynical because I also have been, the social system went after my daughter, as you know, was threatening to remove her because I was getting threats from Islamists, and the left didn't say anything. I mean, and I was in shock because I never in my wildest dreams would have my wildest nightmares would have thought that if something like that happened, then the left would be silent and even trying to argue that maybe that's a good thing. People were doing that. There were even people arguing that it was a good thing. Even the social democracy, the minister was from social democracy, and she was like saying, but we haven't had a case like this before because the situation has changed, the level of threats has changed. She wouldn't say directly that okay, then you cannot have your freedom of speech, but she was like, oh, we have to look into this because the level of threats is another thing. And when you got your daughter, it wasn't the same level of threats. So it's caving into the violence all the time. And even the burning of the Quran is not even that's not even, or the drawing of the prophet is not even, that's not even the only thing, because when in 2014 I was organizing a demonstration with them, trying to make a peace demonstration because there was war in Gaza Strip and between Hamas and Israel, and I was trying to get Israel and the Palestinian authorities, but also organizations, to come together for a peace, just to say we want peace, we want to stop the violence, we want to stop the war, and then start negotiations. And at the same time, there was Khomeini, the former leader of Iran, he made a Quds Day, it's a Jerusalem Day, and we did it on that day, and we wanted all of the non-Islamic organizations to join our demonstration. They didn't. What happened was 200-300 from that demonstration came out to physically hurt our demonstration, attack our demonstration. And what happened was that the police said, you need to escape into this closed area. They closed the area, the demonstration was pushed in there, closed the area. They came out with like almost, bulletproof buses, and then they bust us out of there. And nobody said anything. The politicians didn't do anything. And this is just, it's the burning of the Qurans and the drawing Salman Rushdie. There are so many cases. It's not only the burning of Qurans, it's so many things, and it's just accepting the violence.
You're not allowed to use your rights, you're not allowed your national liberties. They are all wrong for you if some Muslim feelings get hurt. Honestly, I mean, whenever a follower of Islam does something horrible, he's defended, and his victims are blamed, and this goes on and on. I mean, I feel like I am watching a rerun that keeps running for 22 years. I feel like it's just getting worse and worse, and I almost can't watch it anymore. But it's not they're not sharing information. They're manipulating people into thinking that if they take advantage of their own liberties, then they are the bad guys. and Muslims can't do anything wrong. And if a Muslim did something wrong and it's undeniable that it is wrong, then they don't refer to him as a Muslim. Then they don't mention Islam at all. Then it's just a man in a poor social situation, and they find a way to make it that he's innocent, that he's the victim. Or her.
Yeah. The saddest thing, I believe, like,
I'm sorry if I sound angry, but I'm not.
It's okay. It's okay.
The saddest thing, I believe, is like when Westerners forget their history, even they are not mentioning anymore the philosophers of Enlightenment age, like Voltaire, anymore, because they want to protect Islam. If they mention Voltaire and other philosophers of Enlightenment age, then everybody will see what they did against Christianity. How they, Voltaire started.
And Christianity was never this. I'm sorry. Even though Christianity has been bad, it wasn't. It wasn't this. Yeah, but it wasn't.
Yeah, because you know why Voltaire started fighting and declaring all war against Christianity, because of it was, I don't remember the date, but a young man, 19 years old man, insulted a religious symbol in Paris. I think he spitted on, and they tortured him in the middle of the Paris and executed him. After this, Voltaire began to declare war on Christianity and ridicule it and write it with other names, books, and a lot of other philosophers. But today, in the West, like in a very strange way, that instead of protecting freedom of speech, which really many people died to get it in the West, many hundred years, and say, you people, you come here and you have to learn that for us, freedom of speech is holy. For you, your book, then don't produce it. If somebody owns your book, they can burn it if they want, and this is their right, and you will respect it. You will respect it. You can protest, you can say, I don't like it, but you cannot use violence. So easy. This is really crazy, because when they are talking about almost bringing back blasphemy laws and protect Quran, and most dangerous things can happen in the West if Islam gets totally protection from criticism.
Yeah. And I guess they have it already, right? Because people are afraid. They're just, I was in shock that 4 or 5 normal people were saying, oh, they didn't even know who I was or what I have written or done or anything. They were just talking about, what are you doing? I'm doing this. Oh, you should be afraid. And I was in shock, because if this is before it was like more political people who would say, oh, maybe you should be careful, but now everyone I tell what I am doing, they're saying, oh, you should be careful, you should watch out, right? And I just want to say that the whole problem with my daughter ended with us adopting her, so there are no problems with that anymore. But that was a miracle that we got to do that, because of the generosity of the biological parent and family of our daughter, so we could adopt her, so she wasn't in the system anymore. And the system would just keep on threatening us. They would never give up. In the 1.5 year, they were just continuously harassing us and threatening us. And I think
Jale, maybe people doesn't know what happened.
I know.
It is because of, you can explain it, because of you shared the killing of 2 young girls from Norway and Denmark by ISIS in Morocco, right?
Yes, I shared a link.
You shared it because politicians and media insisted that it was a crime, a crime. It's nothing to do with Islam.
And I documented all in my book. Yes. So it's not just me trying to say it was that way. It's documented in in the newspapers in Denmark. I think 1,450 articles were written in the week after the terror attack, and almost none of them. It was only me who had written that they were decapitated. No one else had written in those 1450 articles that the women in Morocco were decapitated. They had written things like, oh, they were found dead with signs of violence, or they had some bruises or some marks after something sharp, or some, what you would call, just wordings that didn't make any sense. Yeah.
It's
The same.
even been, it's even been more of the advertisement for getting together and not be racist and still go to Muslim countries alone.
Yes, and we have to
They
know
are
that.
stupid, they are stupid. They don't see what they are doing to themselves.
And even as you're saying, one of my arguments was, people have to know what happened so they know what they're risking when they're going to Morocco, right? And they changed the because they have a recommendation for every country that you go to, in the foreign ministry's website. So they changed the recommendation for going to Morocco. You should be more careful, and so and so. But they were not telling, and still to this day, the official authorities in Denmark have never told the public that that the Danish woman was decapitated in Morocco. This is, to me, talking about freedom of speech, and even trusting our governments. It's becoming very, very hard to think that we have the full freedom of speech when it comes to Islam. And when because my daughter was in the social, she was a foster care. We were her foster. We have adopted her now, but we were a foster family to her. So the system said, "Oh, you're now," because then the authorities came after me legally and said that I had violated some sort of. I haven't gone to court yet, but they said that I had, I had, I was prosecuted with this law, that I had shown something private in public, and I didn't show anything because I just shared the link. I didn't even share the video. It wasn't the video I shared. I shared a link to another site, to Reddit, right? And this case is still going on. I have this legally case still that I have to go to court with. But then the foster care system said that, oh, you have this case against you, and at the same time you're getting threats from Islamists. You're saying this in the public, and because of this, we don't think you can be a foster parent anymore. Of course, if I cannot be a foster parent to a foster child, I would lose her. So we hired a lawyer and went to the meetings with them and so on, and we made it a public situation with the media, and the politicians, mostly on the right. They didn't understand it, and they criticized what was happening. And they, of course, didn't remove our daughter. It didn't come to that, but that was what they were going to do because of my freedom of speech, essentially. So
Wait a sec. Islam is so dangerous to criticize, right? Because they just don't tolerate it. It becomes very, very dangerous. And in the system, in the daily system, when you go to offices, when you go in meetings, everyone knows that Islam is dangerous, but you're not allowed to say it. You have to say that, oh, I'm not a racist. I hate people who criticize Islam. Then you get hugs and you get, cookies with your coffee and everything for free. But
Yes.
but if you tell the truth about Islam, then you lose your social currency. You can't get anything. You can't get anywhere.
Yeah.
So they are Islamized. They're Islamizing the Western countries. That's what they are doing. If they weren't, there is no way. They don't know the truth about Islam.
Instead of focusing on who is burning Quran, they should focus on, I know a lot of people, ex-Muslims in Norway and in the other countries, they are afraid even to stand in public and say, I'm not a Muslim anymore, not to their families, not in public. We have a lot of problems, like in the West, even people cannot do that. And in the Muslim countries, it is almost impossible. Instead of focusing on these things, like almost they are like they want Muslims to be Muslims, like Muslims have to be like some kind of
Yes,
people,
yes,
go
yes.
with the hijab and
You are
believing.
true. It's so true. It's
Yeah,
so true.
yes,
Because
why they are wishing this for, and then they say we are Islamophobes. We love
yes,
Muslims because we want to save Muslims from dogmas.
exactly.
They can
Yeah,
believe absolute anything they want to believe in. I don't care, but we have to show the true face of Islam so they can choose if they
yeah.
still want to be a Muslim, of course, but they
And
have to
they had,
not.
they treat Muslims like crazy zoo animals. So you're not supposed to make them angry because they'll attack you, and it will
Yeah.
be your own fault. That's really demeaning.
Can I just
Yeah.
continue, because I have showed incident in Oslo and Sweden, but now I want to show in Sandefjord. This incident, I think many people haven't seen. Okay, let us see.
Allahu Akbar. Ya Allah. والله فمنته والله فمنته
I am getting a depression. It's
Yeah.
horrendous. People of the West, please wake up. You have been living in a bubble, in a bubble of freedom and cookies and coffee and smileys and what Nindrak was saying before. You are not aware of what culture and what hostility there is out there in the world, and these kind of cultures and religion, this religion of Islam has come to your countries, and you have to understand what you have let in. Of course, we are also from these countries where this culture is, but you have to understand that there are Islamists that have been brainwashing people both in your countries and in the Muslim countries. So this is a problem that is so vast and it goes, as we were saying before, it goes even further than just the Islamists. There is a mob culture, there is a culture of violence. You have to understand and meet this kind of terrorist behavior. It is terrorist behavior. This what we have seen from both Sweden, Denmark, and Norway now, when the Qurans are burning and this violence occurs from one minute to the other. This kind of violence is terrorism, and our integration policies have not worked, and our integration problems are now terrorism. We have to understand that this is really serious, and we have to be, this is so serious, and it's not the fault of the people who are burning the Quran. It's the fault of the politicians who are not taking this seriously. These people should have been arrested, and also out of the country you go. I'm sorry, that's what I feel. You're not welcome here. You're not meant to be here. If you have this kind of a mentality, you belong outside of the Western civilization, not inside. And I think the problem is that people have been living in been living a wonderful life and thinking that everybody else thinks the same way, the same peaceful, let's sit and talk kind of way. And this is not that other people from other countries necessarily are brought up and have in their system.
I have 2 more short videos I have to show because they haven't been in the media. I haven't seen any
just
places.
just want to comment this. Someone is writing, why burn books and give opportunities to riot? More countries need to learn from Kolkata Quran petition. Okay, it's my right. If I want to burn a book, it's my right. The people like that also would say, why were you outside when you know that men can rape you? It never stops, you see. That's the problem. If you just stop making these assholes angry, they are not going to stop there. They're going to keep coming after the next freedom and the next freedom and the next freedom until you are no more. So yeah, I will burn whatever I want. I have the freedom because it is about freedom.
Right.
And you know what? You will not stop with the Quran. You will not stop with the Quran. You will go to the drawings. You will go to me questioning one verse of the Quran. You will not stop with the Quran burnings. You will not stop with anything. You will potentially you will say to people, you cannot even question a verse of the Quran. This should be illegal. This is what you see as blasphemy. Even asking whether the verses of the Quran is correct or not.
In Pakistan, there was a murder where it was claimed that they dreamt this person had insulted the Muhammad. Because the people who believe that you shouldn't burn the Quran, they are in psychosis. They are mentally ill. They are not well.
Yeah, in the 1990s, people burned a hotel in Turkey and killed 33 people because of they heard that they are insulting Islam and burned Quran even. If you think that most Muslim mob killings, blasphemy killings, happening actually in the countries where the countries have death punishment against blasphemy. Actually, if you look to Pakistan and other 12 countries, why? I think because they know that already they have a government behind them. Like government is not accepting blasphemy, so they can even take the law in their hands and killing. And this is the reason the most killings happening in those countries who have Sharia laws. And in Norway, in Sweden, if we allow these things, what is the next? What is the next? So Quran burning is the right thing to do if people want to burn, but we have to focus on violent protesters. I have to just play this too, really. And why they are not get arrested? I don't understand. Really. And our state channel, we are paying them. They are using their time and money to promote Islam instead of wait. Just I have to look this. Instead of
democracy and freedom of speech.
Yes, of course.
And
can I say a lot of money that is given to integrate foreigners into the countries, into the Western countries, to teach them the laws and everything. It does not seem like these people have gotten the message.
They haven't.
And we are talking way too many billions for these people to not have gotten the message, because the message that they are getting is the Quranic message. They are being told not to tolerate any insults towards the Quran. They are being taught what they are being taught in the mosques by their parents and by those local schools where there are no ethnical people left.
You know,
and they are also very aware of the fear.
Oh yeah.
The fear culture teaches you to fear when you need to fear, but it also teaches you to be the dominant and aggressive one and find out who is fearing you. When do you have the power that people have to be afraid of you? And these people know that the police is afraid of them. The reason why the police shut down our demonstration in 2014 was afterwards somebody asked some little local station asked the police, why did you close down this demonstration? They said, we had to either arrest these hundreds of people who are attacking this demonstration, and the military was even, I saw at the end of the demonstration, I saw military police come in, to protect us. So they said we had to either arrest hundreds of people or shut down your demonstration, your freedom of speech. Guess what they chose? And this tells Islamists the fear of the governments, the police, the system. They know that they can behave like this and get away with it, and they have done it again and again in different demonstration settings, in Quran, Muhammad, all of the violence that are surrounding different kinds of demonstration. They know that the police will back down and not arrest them, and even if they arrest them, they will free them again a couple of hours later. They haven't been met with consequences, and they only understand consequences because that is also a part of the fear culture. If there aren't any consequences, they don't understand it. And
here I have to say something about Arabic translated memes. I had a wonderful short conversation yesterday on phone with him. He's one of my hero. He's doing a fantastic job and really, really great job. And now he's writing here. He say, I have a hypothesis, and I would like to hear what the panel thinks. I believe the West feels Islam is Christianity 200 years ago, and they hope with time it will adapt to modern life and be peaceful. Can I start? Or
yes, of course.
Yes, there is actually a lot of people in the West thinking like this. Just give it, take time, treaty. Just give them time. Look, Christianity, how was it before? But I believe they are wrong. We have to think. What was Christianity? It was a church. It was a power and different things. It was not. Islam is.
200 years ago, Christianity actually took its first step into separating from, the Church of England separated away from the Catholicism. So they already started back then to oppose. There were wars raged between France and England, and
it was more political.
but it was just that if we are not going to oppose Islam in 200 years, it's going to look like it was in the very beginning of Islam.
Yeah, I mean, just I want to finish. There is a big differences actually. One of them is theologically. Like Islam is different, really different than Christianity. First of all, Quran is the word of our Creator. Name is Allah. Nothing can change. You cannot do nothing, and this is the God's word, not inspired by God, written by different people and inspired. This is the one of the difference. Muslims are believing Quran without reading even. I had many discussion with many Muslim friends, and in the end they say to me, shut up, Jamal, enough is enough. Okay, I haven't read because I confronted them. I haven't read, but I believe in anything in the Quran, but I haven't read. He have never read, but it was like me. I was like him before too. So it is very important, ex-Muslims, when they are showing like Arabic translated memes, because Muslims are not going and read critical books because it's haram too. Like he said to me yesterday, it's absolutely true. But when they see some funny picture, and when they read their caption about Islam, like I woke up because some critics I heard, and then later I said it cannot be true. This cannot be in Islam. This is wrong. I have to go and research.
Search it.
When,
Yeah.
as long as I research it, I go away from Islam, and this can help only. So if West protect ex-Muslims and protect free speech, this is the only solution, and it's already happening. But the other thing, in the 300 years ago in Christianity, we had no internet. They hadn't any communication like this. Some books here, some books there in the Europe, and they manage it to Reformation. Today we have internet and everything, but still it should go faster than that, but it's not happening. It's not happening.
The problem is there is no.
just-
I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, we have the Western civilization has fought against Christianity. It has fought for women's rights. It has fought for children's rights. It has fought for gay rights. It has fought away all those dogmas of Christianity, and it's not allowing us to do the same thing with Islam. So Islam isn't going to change at all because we're not allowed to fight it. We're not allowed to fight the
even question it.
anything.
Even question
Even question it. Yeah.
You know what was happened in the West? My hypothesis that Bible is still there. The Old Testament is still there. The worst thing even there, but people's mentality reformed, not the book. Like Quran will be always there. If you change, even you cannot change. But let's say they change it, Quran even. This doesn't matter. The important thing is the reformation of the mentality of people and getting power and taking away power from religious fundamentalist people. Because in every country, I believe almost in every country, even the Sharia countries, most of people are moderates. If they are not moderates, even every 100 years, people became moderates. They are not religious creatures, like going with like Quran. They are walking Quran. They are not that. But every time some religious people comes out and say, hey, now we got far away from Islam. Now we have to go back. And suddenly the mentality getting together because the Ummah thinking. So Muslims can be reformed, but Islam cannot be reformed.
But even if Muslims are reformed, I mean, if you look at before the Islamization, the new era of Islamization starting maybe 1920s or 1970s with the Khomeini, right? Before that time, even if you look at even pictures from Yemen, Afghanistan, Iran, Saudi Arabia, people were more relaxed in their clothing, in their way of life.
Somali.
Yeah, Somalis. Even the reformed Muslims were hidden with Islamism. Or let's be real, it's mainstream Islamic theology. And because the normal Muslims, the reformed Muslims, they don't have an alternative to fight Islamists version of their religion, because there's that only one version, and they're not tolerating any questions. They're not tolerating any other version of Islam. So this is, I think, one of the reasons why we cannot just hope for the better, because I believe that in the Western countries, in Western civilization, first of all, Christianity was not as bad as Islam is. Islam has many more bad ideas than Christianity, even when you go back. But even if they were, as equally as bad, until this day today, people are criticizing Christianity in Denmark. And now it's it's allowed for homosexuals to be married in the church in Denmark, right? Because there is criticism from the people, and I think that the criticism comes from the people, and then the church adapts to the general culture, and and this can of course not happen, because any questioning criticism is not allowed in Islam, and people are getting killed, and people are getting. This is why the fear culture works, the violence, and yeah, it just works too well, and then you don't get anywhere with the with either even the reformist, even if you come as a Muslim and say I want to reform and modernize my religion, you will be called a kuffar. You're not a Muslim.
I
Even
I
if
have to
yeah,
interrupt you.
yeah.
I'm laughing because my cat is going crazy right now. She wants to come in. I have to do something. Just continue, please.
And go
Of
let her
course.
in.
Go let her in. No, I mean, even if a Muslim person came out and said, I want to reform my religion, I want to, change, I don't want stoning, I don't want death penalty, I don't want, I don't want to kill all Jews and all of the things that are mainstream theological within Islam, right? If somebody came and said, I'm a Muslim, I believe in Allah, I believe that the Prophet Muhammad was the last prophet, and so on and so forth, if they wanted to change anything about the mainstream theology of Islam, even Sunni Shia, they are killing each other essentially because they have small differences in their ideology when it comes to Islam, right? It doesn't make any sense for normal logical people when you tell them what Sunni Shia is, what the difference is. Oh, they're killing each other because who had the power when the Prophet died? They're killing each other because of that. Yes, but that's the truth of it all, right? So when you don't tolerate any questions, you don't tolerate any 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 modernization or any you know uh, new
Change.
ideas, yeah, any
Yeah,
change at all,
any change at all.
then of course it's not going to happen. There's no tolerance for it when it comes to Islam. And as long as we are fearful, as long as the West is fearful towards this Islamist threat, the levels of threats, we have to think about the level of threats. This is something that, the Danish parliament they were talking about circumcision of boys. Maybe we should make that illegal as well as it is for women to be circumcised or girls to be circumcised. And this is not official statements, but I knew some politicians at that time. They said the police intelligence, the intelligence police was telling them, if you do that, we will get threats of violence and terrorism. If you do this, we will get threats of violence and terrorism. This is a mainstream thing now in the Western society.
Yeah,
So
terror
we have
is their ruling. Yeah,
and
deciding everything.
if we keep on giving in to this fear, they smell fear on us, and they will keep on pushing the limit and go further in restricting freedoms in this country and in other Western countries.
Yes, and you see, Anders Krog is really one of the best comments. As long as there are people who are offended to the point of committing violence for a burned book, books must be burned until such offense is no longer taken. Just like we have tamed Christian oversensitive feelings, so must oversensitive feelings for Islam be tamed. I'm totally agree, and this is the best explanation.
This is what gets the sickness out of the people who think that they are so important that their feelings are more important than other people's lives. This is the solution. That's absolutely. But who is going to put the bell on the cat?
You know what? Paludan was actually burning Qurans last year, or maybe actually before the pandemic. He was burning a lot of Qurans because he wanted to come, get elected to the Danish parliament. And what happened was that he kept on doing this. And at one point, even, one of the big conservative, more conservative, they're all conservative, but more big and conservative Islamic organizations said, we should not attack him because we should understand that we are better than this and we should stay away. And you know what, even if it's not, it's not heartfelt, but just the fact that they're thinking to say, oh, we should not meet this with violence, we should just ignore it, is actually teaching them more than a lot of politicians and, the billions of integration money has taught them. Paludan, even though I don't support him, he's not very bright. I think he's a madman who's doing the Lord's work. He's really showing us. I don't support his politics, but what he's showing us is that we have a huge problem of intolerance and violence within our societies that we need to have to take care of, and to
Jale,
no tolerance for it.
I put this on screen because of you. You just reminded me when you talk about Shia and Sunni
I
conflict.
laughed so much.
This is from Arabic translated memes, and let's see the religion of peace before we had the West and CIA to blame for all our violence. This is very informative. But now I just noticed that it is like Omar. The Caliph Umar is not here. Maybe I miss it. I don't know. But you see, Islam began with violence, actually.
Yeah.
Islam began with violence, continue with violence, and I hope will not end with violence, but peacefully will end it. Here, Arabic translated memes right. Khomeini is the perfect example. He claimed to be moderate and modern Islam. So much so that France hosted him and supported him. When he came to power, he changed it 360 degree, turned it out to be lies. And it's not only France, but the communist parties in Iran. Communists brought him to power, and just 1 week later, all of them get prison and executed. And this is like the similar thing in the West, I believe. The regressive leftists, like I see many Islamists are joining in the like communist parties in the West, like Red or Green Party, like the left movement. I don't understand really, because these people actually voting Islamist parties and nationalist Islamist parties in their original country, like Turkey, Pakistan. But when they are in the West, they are joining the left side, which actually they hate in their own country. But leftists like have problems to see these Islamists when they became more, and then they will open their party and they will be against the left first. So I call all time getting in love with their executor.
Why should Islamists support the parties who are for the sexual revolution in the West? Think about it. Or the parties who first were for homosexual rights and so on. Why should they be for these parties? It's not a real support of the left and the ideas of freedom and freedom of sexual freedoms, and choosing yourself and choosing your sexuality is a big part of the left's history, both with homosexuality but also with women's rights and so on. So why should Islamists be allied with this? I was a part of the left, the extreme left even, and I went to a conference in London, and there was this homosexual man, one of the activists I met over there, and he said, "I gladly support and demonstrate side by side with the imams who want me dead if they had Sharia rule." And I said, "Why?" "Because they are also against the war in Iraq." Because
do you know Jeremy? What's his name?
Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn working in the national TV of Iran.
Press TV. Yes.
And it is like, so I say that getting in love with their executioner.
And he's not even, if he is a far leftist person, he was the leader of Labour. I mean, that's not a far left organization. The Labour Party, he was, right? I'm not misunderstanding anything, right? I think he was the he became the leader. Yeah. He became the leader of the Labour Party. As am I saying something? I think that was what happened. He of course didn't get elected to be to be
You
to win
wrote
the election.
in your book. I have read it. Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm right. Sometimes you misunderstand, not misunderstand, but forget something. But it's amazing that someone like that could just easily come to power and even become such a high person in a social. There's a social democracy in Britain, right? That's yeah. We are.
And sometimes I think, yeah, and
Was
some,
I remember it was the hall full of people who were segregated, gender segregation. That was what was his downfall.
Yes.
Yeah. He didn't get any votes after that.
and sometimes I think even that when these protesters and riots, doing violence in the West, it is even not honest that they are doing, like, when they have opportunity to show Islamic power. Look at us. Like I will show one video right now.
We can burn
Yes,
cars.
yes. You see this one? This is from Saudi Arabia. Look at the Qurans, please. They found it.
Yeah.
And even the savage systems and
you can also find a video from Iran where they found a lot of Qurans in the sewage system.
Yeah, and they're burning. And there is a lot of news about like Saudi Arabia burning thousands of Qurans, which they think it's not allowed because they are very small. It is not about actually burning of piece of paper. It's many things. Yeah, it's many things, and the hatred against West also a part of these reactions from Muslims in the West. I believe this because they are not reacting when powerful countries like Saudi Arabia burning Quran or dumping Egypt dumping in the Nile river. So Islamism is a huge problem, but Islamism means it's not a simple thing, because many ordinary Muslims are also involving easily with some Islamist provoke, then and this is really sad. So I think government have to focus on punishing those who want to take our freedom of speech and those who use violence.
When we talk about these things, I just feel like words don't come out, because my brain goes into this whirlwind of thoughts in which who is it that we are actually I mean, the people, a lot of people, they listen to us. A lot of people listen to the television and read the newspapers and get corrupted by the media and are against us. And then the politicians, they are also trying to please the media. Is it the media? I mean, who is running this stupid show?
I think it's because the political correctness is, we thought we were making, I have been making fun of political correctness since I even, started, I think, in politics, right? Yeah. But the political correctness has become a religion for the left wing, but not only the left wing, it has become a religion for corporate media, but also capitalism. All if you look at any big or small even corporation, you see them advertising with wokeness, material.
Yeah, every time I want to watch something on YouTube, I get advertised to I should go to Qatar.
Yes.
Yeah,
and not even that. But
I mean,
you cannot find one clothing line that hasn't advertised for the hijab. Or for
everywhere.
Yeah,
and this is synergy between the media and the left wing woke culture craziness. It's dominating. There is like I don't feel like there is an opportunity to penetrate through and get the message out, and only the people who get like shoved to a side. Come and listen to us.
I think a lot of people actually do understand what we're saying, but the racism card is so dominant, and it's so fearful for anyone to get called a racist, even especially if they're white, right? If you're a white person and you in your workplace say something that we are saying today now here on this program, you could easily be fired from your job because of claims of racism, right? So this is where we are, because the claim, or the it's an attack to be called a racist, it's very powerful. But I think a lot of people, and this is why Trump got elected, this is why Marie Le Pen was very close to be elected, because people are not that stupid, and people have had enough, and people do understand that this is a huge problem. But our leaders are too damn soft and gullible to understand how big of a threat this is. And at the same time, even if they understand how big of a threat it is so hard for them to risk being called a racist that they will not maybe take and do the right thing and go against Islam, because it's simply too dangerous, a minefield, because then you're against I wrote my book, Islam's Offentlige Hemmeligheder, Public Secrets of Islam, and many places in that book I say this is not a criticism of all Muslims. It's a criticism of an ideology, a religion, also a culture, of course, but it's not a criticism. It's not a one-to-one problem, right? It's not Islam is this and all Muslims feel this way, or all Muslims are jihadists, all Muslims are Jew haters, all Muslims beat their wives, and so on and so forth. And almost everyone who was a little bit skeptical, even friends, would say, oh, but you're criticizing all Muslims. It's so hard for them to, because maybe Muslims...
Even what so? We are not doing that, but what? Yeah, I mean, we have to... It has been a long time. The left in the West lost their identity, their history, everything, and they became a regressive leftist. Not all of them, but majority of them, and they are elite today in the West. When we talk about media or academia and politics, and they were very good with making lobby, and when they did this, all these years in the schools, for example, what they are teaching. Who are the majority in the schools teachers? The left wings, and especially regressive leftists, and all these things, all teachings to young people, and cancel culture work is only a result of that. And Nirok said, who are they? They are them, but they are just brainwashed because of they are using like a tool. Muslims a tool for them.
How do we poke a hole in it?
but
we get there?
We get there because of people let them. I'm not against the left idea, the old one. I can say that. In the old time, conservatives hold with the religion, but the left wings in the 100 years ago, they are attacked religious beliefs which is not acceptable, and they criticize it, ridicule their religion, but later they forget it and they find like victims. Okay, Muslims are victims, their religion, and things is very old. How I can explain Orientalism? Also, one of the thing in many 100 years, it is in their brain. They write a book and glorified Islam like exotic, fantastic, better than Christianity. Just to mock their own religion, they supported. Even actually, Voltaire did that one time. My hero Voltaire even did that one time. That they are like, have to fight against Christianity. Okay, bring another religion and show them, look at this religion, it's better. Although he criticized Islam hardly.
They have good food.
Food isn't Islamic.
So
no, but the countries of Islam, they have good food. We have to give them that. But
I will put ex-Muslims of North America's blasphemy tracker. apostasy tracker in the description of this on this video,
Yes,
because
of course,
there are
do
a lot
that.
of cases. I think we have to start to sharing a lot of like these things. It is very sad, and people don't know. Like this one, you know, the woman killed really very brutally with iron rods and burned. They burned her corpse in Nigeria. It was because of she decapitated Quran or something like that. But
Where
it
did
is
that happen? In what country?
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Nigeria. There is also some places with Sharia. They are ruling with Sharia, and there is death penalty for blasphemy in Nigeria too. Actually,
But what I was saying before is, even in Nigeria and other place, people know, all over the world, people know there is a problem with Islam. Even Muslims, almost every Muslim knows there's something wrong with my religion. But there is, of course, the fear of getting hurt or killed or threatened or so on. That's also, of course, a huge part of Islam not being criticized. But the other thing is that if you criticize Islam, you will very quickly be told that you're racist, that you're discriminating Muslims, and so on and so forth. And this is why the leaders of Western countries, they're not, even Trump was trying to pack in his criticism of Islam. But he was the only and first leader of the West who told Saudi Arabia, you should look within your religion and you should do something about it. There's something wrong, right? He was the first to do it. But even him, he started packing it in, because it's such it's such a it's such a hard thing to be called a racist for, the old white man with the guilt of
Plus, you can't sell
imperialism.
weapons. You can't sell weapons to the Arab countries if you're
That's
calling them
also, of
racist.
course,
Yeah.
that's also a part of it. But I think you were asking how can we poke a hole into their, the way they're handling all of these things. I think one of the things you can do is make them ask them questions about Islam, not Muslims, not integration, about Islam. What is your point of view about Islam? Because when I have done this and they don't want to talk about it, of course, they will try to avoid these questions about Islam so much. Because if you ask even Obama, when he was in office, he said something, along something like, there are problems within Islam. Muslim countries have to look within their own religion and do something about these problems. So, of course, it wasn't right that Trump was the first one, but Obama packed it even more in the criticism. So even Obama and also the left wingers in the Western countries, they know there's a problem and they feel there's a problem, but they cannot, they will not criticize it. And maybe it's too late now.
It's not only criticizing; they
but,
don't need.
I mean,
Yep.
it's like when we are watching television, the news or something, or just a show is, let's say, a debate. We're watching a debate, and the showrunner is talking about Islam, and they sound to me like when an imam is lying to the infidel. That's how they sound when they talk about Islam. When they talk to their own people and they lie about Islam, it's like an imam is lying to the infidel. It is such a strange thing to see that they are there and they are intelligent. They didn't get those jobs because they were stupid. They have to keep track of all these people who are joining in and make sure the conversation runs smoothly. And they are leading people in traps of thinking that Islam is peaceful and everything is good, and this person who was just swindling the country is the real victim. How is this a thing that is being accepted?
And
everyone, if you meet a politician, ask them about their feelings about Islam, and their thoughts about Islam, because it's very powerful to make politicians answer this. Does Islam have problems with democracy and freedoms? And
Yes,
of course, the question is yes. And if they start lying, it will be too obvious. And and with doing that, that's a small step towards saying, okay, then we need to do something about these problems. Then what do we do about these problems? Should we close all the Muslim schools who are brainwashing people and the mosques that are brainwashing people? Should we make people pay punish people who are using Sharia laws in our countries? Yes, we should do that. I mean, that's, we have to start, stop being this gullible.
Do you
So
know,
we
before
have to
I
start.
before I forget, I have to just come in here. You know, I don't need that they should criticize Islam. I don't need their criticism of Islam. We don't need that. But the problem is, first of all, they have to stop promoting and glorifying Islam. And
Yeah.
this is what they are doing in the West, this elite, this regressive leftist. And,
Yeah,
and they are
that's why I said they sound like when the Imam is lying to
yes,
the infidel.
yeah,
That's
and
how
this is the first thing that they have to stop with this. And the other thing is that they are not interested with solving the problem, solving any problem related to Islam. They are like they want this problem leave here. These problems related to Islam, even they are feeding this. What I mean with that, when Charlie Hebdo massacre happened, right? And caricature crisis in Denmark, and this crisis we had with the satanic verses book. Instead of, they should, every newspaper, every state department, they should publish the caricature of Muhammad, all the countries in the West, to solve the problem. Instead of that, they said, why people who draw Muhammad throwing oil in the
the fire.
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
They said people who drawing Muhammad, they are just throwing oil to fire. They have to stop with that. Instead of, they should say, why we have this fire here in the West?
Yeah.
What should we do with the fire? And this I'm saying because actually Douglas Murray said that in his book.
He's my hero. He's very, I love him. Yeah.
I absolutely agree with that. Instead of
Yeah.
questioning how we get this problem fire here,
Yeah.
instead of saying that stop throwing gasoline on,
You know what?
on the fire.
The media didn't have the balls to print the cartoons when they had to. Now the problem of fear culture has gone to the schools. Now Danish schools, they're not even, the teachers are not, they're saying, I'm afraid of my life. You saw what happened to a teacher
In France,
in Paris. He was decapitated because he was showing the cartoons.
Yeah.
So people in Denmark are not even, some schools, they're even afraid of talking about the cartoons, right? I went to a gymnasium with many Muslims in it, and the year after I was done there, 9/11 happened. I saw a couple of years ago, I saw a teacher from that school. He said a lot of the students from that school cheered when 9/11 happened. And what did the school institution do? They said, you should stop cheering, but we will not talk about it. It's too sensitive. This is how our educational systems are treating sensitive issues like 9/11, like Muhammad drawings, burning of the Quran, and so on and so forth. And even I was at a conference where we were talking about all of the censoring that the teachers are doing actually because of Islam, and the social control with the women, or young women, or and homosexuals, or even if you're Shia, some students were being harassed because they were Shia, right? All of this, the religion controlling things in schools. One teacher said, I think also we should write in our paper that it should be very, we should teach in evolution theory, because some teachers are afraid of even teaching evolution theory in our school educational systems, schools, and education institutions, because they're afraid of, getting bombarded by parents, or even having discussions with the students or with the pupils. Even we saw it in Britain. Some parents were demonstrating because their children were taught about homosexual rights. So this is where we are. What do you want to do about it, dear politically correct leaders of the West? We have these problems. You think they will go away? No, they have only become. You think they will go away? They have only become bigger, because there is a fight. There is a battle of ideas, and the Islamists are fighting this fight. We are not fighting it. We are just losing more and more freedoms, more and more territory. We are losing more and more people to their brainwashing of people. So what are we going to do about it? It's not going to go away. This problem is there to be handled. It will not
also
go
we're
away.
raising a generation that is learning and that you should fear.
Yes.
You shouldn't learn. You should fear.
Yeah.
You shouldn't question anything. We're raising a generation that is going to learn to be morons because they are not allowed to learn how to think for themselves.
Yeah.
You know what France did after teacher Daniel Paty beheaded in Paris? Was the right thing, but it was late. But it was the right thing to
and
do.
It was a
what
campaign that stopped very,
What they did, they published caricature of Muhammad in almost all the city buildings. Like government buildings. But the wrong thing is that any other country followed that. Think about it. All the Western countries do the same time, and they do every month almost, or they can do every time when the day came, the Charlie Hebdo massacre day, the killing of teacher Paty day. They should publish it. This will make normalizing. Instead of what they do today, it is forbidden, almost like forbidden, to publish any caricature of Muhammad in our newspapers. But forget the Prophet Muhammad. They even stopped publishing any caricature. Do you know that?
I saw it.
Because they are prioritizing their
prioritizing.
Is the feelings of some people believing some men who claim it to be a prophet in the 7th century's desert in Arabia. I'm really, I don't want to use bad words, but it's so crazy. It's so crazy. Let religion be a private thing, like earlier Arabic translate memes say it about. It is really like funny. Even after I watched,
I have started also to get these advertisements.
After even I watch.
I thought it was a joke. Because one of the advertisers was this man who had this big beard and he had a grown together. Have you seen this?
Yes,
I thought he was a comical. He was doing comedy or something like that. He was, but. Oh my God!
I believe so. I'm against state sport thing to any religious community. I think they have to stop this. We have to get rid of every sport to mosques or other places, other religious groups, and I believe that they have to stop money from outside of the countries too. So let them be private, because I believe religions are like state in the state. If you claim that your country is a secular country, you have to stop religion in public. It have to be private, because when they became a bigger, they committed bigger. They will get their own rules, unwritten rules first. Later, they want to have their own rules. Like today in UK. Even they have now Sharia courts. They are not cutting limbs of people right now. They are not stoning people right now. But they say about marriage cases
and family issues.
Yes, and it is so crazy. But we have to continue. We have to continue.
And I think it's, the Western world is very ruled by logic, or it used to be, right? Before this woke political correctness, the religion came over the West. Everything would be very logical. You would sit down, talk about different ideas, different possibilities to how do you say, yeah, handle the problems that the societies were facing. But now, when you know that the fear culture is about fear, and if you're afraid of people who are aggressive and who are dominating and who are using threats and violence against you, and you want peace with them, it doesn't make any sense. You cannot fear these people and hope that they go away. They are ruling with the threats and the violence, and we just need to understand this. I don't understand that logical people do not see this issue. But again, I think it has something to do with not realizing that people think differently. People are actually, it's not just a one moment of bad judgment that you stand there and say, get him, Allahu Akbar. This is an ideology. It's not just a feeling that comes over you. Suddenly you're fighting police and you're fighting and you want to kill people. It's not something, it's not an emotional thing. It's an ideology controlling these people and have been brainwashing them. And I know that they're not Islamists, all of them, and going to mosque every day. But Islamists, they don't need to be going to mosques every day, right? Because Islam is about being true to, following the religion and doing violence. A lot of the terrorists in the West have always been people who have had girlfriends, have gone to parties, and then they suddenly become jihadis, right? So the Islamist part of their brain was always there, and it just needed a little, a little more washing, and then they were terrorists. So this is something that the West has to understand. This problem will not go away by itself. It needs to be handled. And I don't agree that Islam criticism shouldn't be mainstream. I think when Islam criticism becomes mainstream, then Muslims in the Western world will understand that this is the way that we do it in these countries. You don't like it, go away. You become terrorist, you go to jail, and then we will deport you out of this country. There is no room for your blasphemy laws in Western countries. This is too medieval for us. We will not stand for it.
Absolutely agree.
We gotta stand up for the freedom of speech, or we will be conquered.
Yeah.
About soon it is 2 hours, and we will end soon. Last 5 minutes, we can have last comments. I want to say, it is clearly that this religion, Islam, haven't gone through any enlightenment age. I think all of us agree, because it is strict blasphemy laws which existed in 1,400 years and still continues. There are more than 13 countries have death penalty for blasphemy and apostasy in the Muslim world. These countries which are ruled by Islamic laws. And in other countries, it is punishable by jail and money. But very often, Muslim mob killing blasphemers.
And this is not a Christianity problem. This is an Islam problem, right?
Yes,
it's a Muslim countries.
They are not Buddhists who are doing that. They are Muslims. And when I say Muslims doing that, I'm not Muslim phobe. I'm just talking about reality. And I don't need to say every time that not all Muslims. Of course, not all Muslims, but they are Muslims. No, I'm not
But
saying
no,
to you.
no,
I'm
because you were.
saying, yeah, I'm just to audience, you know.
Yes,
Yeah,
but you were also saying that it was these countries of Muslim, but there are no Christian. I mean, there are no Christian countries that have these laws. There are no Buddhist countries that have these laws. There are no even in Israel or other religions. They don't have these laws.
yes, and you know, and I'm an atheist, you know, and of course, I don't like many religions, how they are behaving, which rules they have, but why I'm focusing only mostly Islam, maybe only Islam, because I believe the most dangerous religion today, it is Islam. The
There's no
most,
doubt.
no
There's no
doubt,
doubt
yeah.
there.
And it is my former religion, and
Yes.
and I want to talk about it, I want to criticize it, and do this freely.
Yeah.
And this right I have to have, and I'm
Yeah.
living in the West,
Yeah.
which I had looked up all my life, because I thought they had freedom of speech and they are free, they had movies, they have everything against Jesus, why not against Muhammad?
Muhammad. Yeah.
So I believe, you know, only solution, and it is happening, and I'm not pessimist, I'm optimist, because what all ex-Muslims are doing today, although they are risking their lives, many people can't stand in public, but there are a lot of people with courage. They are talking about Islamic problems, and
And if yeah,
so,
and
so
if
we
yeah,
lastly I will say, and I will give it to you, world need more ex-Muslims, world
yeah,
need more blasphemy. Thank you.
So,
yeah. And sorry, I will just say very quickly a little thing. And if we know that a lot of people are, we had Rizwan, who is very brave. Ex-Muslims in Muslim countries are very brave when they stand, and speak their mind and ask for freedom. I mean, that's why I keep doing it, because I think if they're doing it, I have to do it. I have a responsibility. I mean, there's no question, I have to keep on doing this if they're doing it, right? But the reason why people are saying to me, oh, you should be afraid, is because you are not backing me. You don't care about these problems. If we, all of us, if every normal person in the West who is for freedom and who is for from freedom of speech and the right to criticize religion, and for the right to be to do blasphemy, right? If we all said, no, dear Muslims, this is our right, this is our freedoms, you will not touch our freedoms, then I shouldn't be afraid, because then the culture of the whole society will change, and the Muslims would be cornered into either choosing to live with these freedoms or leave this country, and if you're a terrorist, we will throw you out, right? So this is very important. I think, of course, more ex-Muslims have to come forth, but at the same time, I think it's very important, that the
that the
ordinary.
leftists stop being cowards.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know,
That's the only thing I wanted to say. So I just stopped.
okay,
No, do it.
and we have,
I thought it would be complimentary to your comments.
You know,
and they have to understand, it is echo there.
I'm sorry.
Okay, I think it's okay, no problem. But I think you have to have headphone, if it's okay for you, Jale. Can you hear me?
No echo now.
Echo is gone.
No, I thought it would
But
be
we cannot.
complimentary to
Your mic is off.
Yeah, I will turn it off because my headphone batteries.
Okay, I just
quit
want to
on
say
me.
last that they have to see that problem is not people who burn their own book, which is the copy of Quran. Problem is the book which says you will burn in hell, and you are the worst of creatures because you are not believing me, and we have right to kill you, and you are as a woman less intelligent, and you are and you can have slaves and many other things. So problem is the book. Problem is not the who burn his own book. He's not burning your book which you own, but context is everyone own the context, and then don't sell it. Don't sell your book. Don't publish it.
Yep.
Yes. And then I think we have to close now. If you have something to say, Jale and Nirok.
No, I will
this
say
was
it was a
lovely.
great episode.
I
Okay.
think it was very nice of Jamal to show up in Girl Talk today.
Yeah, and other things I have to say.
That was a joke, Jamal. That was a joke.
Yes, it's okay. But you know, Arabic and I have to say, Arabic translated memes will be our guest, and I'm so happy for that. It will be his first live streaming with us, and then I believe maybe I have to do alone with him, or I don't know. We have to talk later together because I want to give him so much time.
I can sit here quiet.
Yeah, it's okay. We can all do. It's maybe better, but because I want to give him the many. So how many hours he wants, because it's very good to talk with him, and he's doing a fantastic job, and we are publishing his memes every day, and he's making our job easier, because before we used our times to create memes, and it take time, but he's just posting, and I will write his
He's a
Instagram
genius.
page and the website in the description of this video, and soon we will have him here. And I want to thank everyone, and see you on next episode, and thank you, Jale and Nirok, today.
Yeah,
Thank you, Jamal.
Bye bye, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.